Yo, what's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be breaking down this badass clone drone conductor build. So before we get in the video, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Borderlands 3 Zane builds. Anyways, guys, let's get into it. One more thing I actually want to mention is we are recording this video live on twitch.tv/thickfillet_. So if you want to come hang out with me while we play or sometimes record live YouTube videos, we are at twitch.tv/thickfillet_. Anyways, guys, let's get into it. So basically, this is a conductor build, and it is a pretty straightforward build. We're playing the Conductor, which gives us bonus shock damage as long as our action skills are active. And you can use this in some very cool ways. Basically, the main thing we're doing is getting bonus ricochets on some of these very cool weapons. And otherwise, we have a straightforward build. So we are quickly going to break down the gear and the skill trees, and then we're going to go over bossing and mobbing with this build. So yeah, let's get into it. So for the skill trees, we are running seein red for bossing, and then we're running calm, cool, collected for mobbing. So this is kind of a straightforward combo of stuff. Normally, seein red and calm, cool, collected wouldn't be good together if you're playing the barrier, but we're actually playing the drone and the clone. This way, we can take advantage of action skill and anointments. We can also take advantage of seein red. If your drone and your barrier is always active, then we're not getting any value out of this skill. But yeah, so let's get into it. So into the blue tree, basically we have some pretty straightforward options. We only spent enough points to get to seein red, and we spent these points kind of in a purposeful way. Basically, we need playing dirty for the bossing kills we're trying to go for. So it's very important you spend the 5 points here. We only have 63% chance, and we can kind of cheat this some extra couple times to make sure it's active before we start bossing. But this is a very important skill in this build for bossing. Besides that, pretty straightforward how I spent the skill points. It is actually important to put some points into violent violence because of the weapons we're using. This is going to be actually really good and important. So yeah. Next, in the green tree, we are playing calm, cool, collected. Now, keep in mind, ready for action is always better than adrenaline, and that's because of this guardian skill right here, topped off. Where is it? Topped off. So this actually gives you 200% cooldown when your shields are full, and the minuscule amount of points we get from adrenaline actually does not add any cooldown. I did the math. If we actually had 10 points in adrenaline, which is possible with the conductor, and we only get, I think, 3 more seconds on the drone cooldown, if we have 10 points in this skill, so it's just not worth it in my opinion. And yeah, besides that, one other question I hear is why don't we play Futility Belt? And that is because this skill is bugged. The damage reduction actually doesn't work from what I've heard. And besides that, the effect of it actually isn't favorable for us. It makes shock weapons do full damage to your health bar. It makes fire weapons do full damage to your shields. And yeah. And finally, we're not playing refreshments because we are very kind of tight on points. We wanted to get as many leftover points into red tree as we could. And these were all the points we could fit. So yeah. And finally, in the red tree, the main question is, why aren't we running synchronicity? And that's because we actually get a lot of damage from violent momentum. And we just want borrowed time for the most consistency possible. And finally, we spent 3 points into Donnybrook. When I started this build, I did have 1 point into Fractal Frags and no points into Donnybrook, but I wanted some more health regen. So we got Donnybrook. You could take 1 point out of here and put it into Fractal Frags if you want, but just kind of mess around with it. Keep that in mind. So that is it for these skill trees. Let's get into the build and go over the different weapons we use. After this, I'm going to explain mobbing and bossing playstyles. But for this section, I'm just going to explain why we use the weapon or like where it's good. And yeah, so the conductor you are looking for the top skills, you want 0 points into adrenaline. Like I said, it just does not stack well. You get diminishing returns with action skill cooldown. And yeah, so just no points in adrenaline, and it's a good class mod. And then on the bottom, you always want weapon specific bonuses with Zane. So you see we have shotgun damage and pistol damage. All of our weapons are shotguns or pistols. We actually have an unseen threat equipped right now, which isn't, but normally we don't really use this for mobbing, just for bossing. And if you guys didn't know, the sickle actually gets damage from shotgun damage. Even though this is an assault rifle, this actually does get this shotgun bonus. So yeah, next on our grenade and shield, you want action skill and anointments. Because that's why we're using the clone. We want him to die and proc these anointments. That's also kind of another reason we didn't need points into synchronicity. But yeah. So for the grenade, you can use any sort of hex or coil grenade. A quasar is really good. I actually even have a cloning maddening tracker. These kind of grenades can crit, and they can actually freeze enemies with brain freeze. So these are kind of important to use. And pretty much just change your elements depending on who you're fighting. Like right now, we're going to go kill Grave Ward after this. So I'm going to equip this Quasar, which has Incendiary on action skill end. Because it's good against Grave Ward. Now keep in mind these action skill end elements are their own thing. So you see I have cryo damage here, and I have Sentinel Cryo. These stack perfectly fine. And these actually will give you a bonus projectile. Sentinel Cryo and bonus cryo damage and the cryo element on the gun are all separate things. With a King's Call, like let me equip my cryo King's Call just to give you guys a visual. This cryo King's Call with Sentinel Cryo gets a bonus ricochet, or like, yeah, a bonus ricochet. And this bonus cryo on action skill end gives us another ricochet. So this stacks perfectly. Just don't even worry about it. We're going to basically put up some clips of us bossing with these weapons. The King's Call is super nutty with Zane, and that's why playing dirty is so important. It just does so much work, and you guys are going to see why. Besides that, we have the Unseen Threat. If you actually saw my Unseen Threat video I just posted, this gun's pretty good for bossing. I don't really use this for mobbing, but yeah, it's in the build. Besides that, we have stuff like weapons like the Lob. Now, I actually also like to use a Cryo Queen's Call because the Lob and the Cryo Queen's Call are just so powerful and they do so much damage that they will literally just freeze enemies from the damage. So being able to force freeze an enemy like with a Cryo Lob is very powerful for this build, and it's really clutch. Next, we have the Sickle. This is a very good single target mobbing weapon. You can actually use this for some bossing, but it's mainly just for those tougher mobs like the badass commandos and stuff like that. Besides that, we have this Dastardly 7 Cents. This thing is insane. We're going to use this while mobbing. This is like a King's Call, but you don't have to crit. It never comes anointed, but it's still powerful enough, so don't even worry about that. You literally get this from a quest. It is the easiest gun to get in this build, and I promise you guys want to get your hands on this. Besides that, we have some Cutsmans, just because. The Hyper Focus is very good in certain situations. We will actually be getting a Grave Ward kill with this Hyper Focus. We're going to show you guys that. Let's see. We have a Clairvoyance. The Recursion. The Recursion is our top mobbing weapon, actually. The bridge during the takedown is actually one of the hardest parts. You can get random boss kills. Like we can kill all 3 Valkyries at once. We can kill Wotan while he's splitting with his top half. You can pop off with this weapon, and it's great for mobbing, especially because we have so many bonus elements from Sentinel Cryo, from our class mod, from our action skill, and anointments. It like things just get stupid when you equip this weapon, and you like I have to include this in this build. If you don't want to use it because you think it's cheese, then go right ahead. But I love this weapon, and yeah. And that is pretty much all the weapons. Now, I want to talk quickly about the shields. I was actually running the Band of Sidorak. You want to run very fast recharging shields. Since we don't have the barrier to protect us, you will basically be able to recharge your shield and freeze an enemy. You'll see while mobbing basically how this kind of plays out. We basically heal ourselves, we get full shields very quickly, and then we can trigger Calm Cool Collected. Now, I do think the Big Boom Blaster is the best shield for this build. Not only does our clone drop booster shields to basically heal our shields, when you swap with him, you'll instantly pick up all the shields. You can get full shields just on swap, even though we didn't take Quick Breather, so it's kind of a cool shield. It recharges quickly, and it provides a little bit more survivability, in my opinion, than the Sidorak. The Sidorak, I felt, was just, it was too easy to kill us. Next, let's quickly go over the artifacts because a lot of you want to know about the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. Now, I know you heard there was some crazy multiplicative things in this, and that is true. Basically, from what I understand, I have not tested with this, but I have talked to a lot of people in the math community. And what I understand about this artifact is this gives you upwards of 150% damage. Now, part of that is multiplicative, but I was told 120% of this is just pure weapon damage. Now, we are going to show some clips bossing with the Snowdrift and the Pearl. And the Snowdrift definitely outperforms the Pearl at peak speed and peak slides. But the Pearl is very good if you can't slide. We actually will get a Grave Ward kill with the Pearl on, just to show you guys that this is usable for bossing. It is very good, but I'm just saying that the Snowdrift will ultimately give us more damage. So if you like to slide, then keep doing it. Besides that, use the Icebreaker for mobbing. The damage on this does end up being more than the Pearl, and that's only because we are playing on Zane. We have a ton of weapon damage in our skill trees just from Violent Momentum, so we basically get diminishing returns, but the Icebreaker is a very good, it gives us good damage, and not only that, but the cryo efficiency is super important on the Icebreaker, and with our Ricochet weapons, we will just get freezes back to back to back easily. And that is it for the build and the skill trees. Now we're going to go over some playstyle for mobbing and bossing. First, we're going to go over bossing. I'm going to show you guys the different weapons you can use because we can actually use multiple different weapons. I'm going to be showing all these kills on Grave Ward, but if you are facing a boss that doesn't have an easy crit spot, that's fine. I just want to show the damage we can do with some of these different weapons. All right, so basically for bossing, you can use a King's Call, you can use this Unseen Threat, you can use a Hyper Focus or a Lob. Just element match to whatever boss you're fighting, and yeah, so let's get into some of the clips. All right, so for this first Grave Ward kill, we are actually wearing the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, and that's for some of you guys who don't like to slide. I understand some of you don't. Basically, you still want to move as fast as you possibly can. And then, yeah, we can just start shooting him in his chest. We have the Pearl on, which is giving us a good damage bonus. Now, the clip after this, we are going to slide and get the kill, and you guys will see that we do kill him a lot faster, even with just the Hyper Focus. All right, so now we have on our Snowdrift, and we're still using the same weapon, the Hyper Focus. And you can see we get a lot of damage. All right, I didn't get to clone swap. So my chat right now is going to go exclamation point yeet, because that's what we do when I jump off the map. I do it all the time. But yeah, you guys can see we had a lot of peak damage while sliding, and that was a pretty easy slide to set up just right in the middle of his chest. We're not using any special gear. Our class mod doesn't even have SMG damage on it. Our Snowdrift is a decent Snowdrift, but like it doesn't have SMG damage on it. And this isn't even a fire hyper focus. This is a kinetic hyper focus. So basically, the Pearl is still very good. If you guys don't like to slide, you can still get kills with this. And that's the point I wanted to make. So now I wanted to show off the King's Claw kill, just because it's a really cool kill with this weapon. The Conductor is adding a bonus element. Sentinel Cryo is adding a bonus element. Basically, you can just slide at him and just get a really clean kill. Now, with the Unseen Threat, I made a video about this, and I was using this exact build. So this Unseen Threat can literally one-shot him in this build. Alrighty, so for this kill and a boss like this, we will actually wear the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. You kind of just have to decide, it depends what weapons you're using, and stuff like that. Basically, you're going to see why we're going to use it here. It's because we're not sliding. We're going to use the King's Call for this kill. And we are actually just going to shoot him in the head. So you guys can see why we are wearing the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. We're not wearing a Snowdrift. That was not a slide kill. That was a just straight up stand and shoot. You know what I mean? But that's what I was trying to say was it just depends on the situation. The Pearl is still very good. It still adds a ton of damage. So don't think I'm saying it's not good, because it is. Alrighty, so now we are going to start this takedown. Basically, my weapons sometimes slightly change depending on what section we're in. For the most part, we are just running this basic loadout because these are the guns I like. The Seventh Sense is a great mobbing weapon. This is just like the King and Queen's Call, except you don't have to hit crits. And since it only comes in cryo, that's fine with us anyway, because the damage this thing deals will literally just freeze enemies. Is there a thick fillet of Amara Flak Moe's? Does Moxie play anyone else than Amara? Yeah, he's posted builds for every Vault Hunter. So yeah, if you guys can see how this gun works, you just shoot and it does cool things. Now, the other reason this weapon's good is because it'll actually heal you with salvation and then trigger and then freeze the enemy. So you can actually fully heal yourself on the shot, but by the time the projectiles go back in, then it'll trigger basically Calm, Cool, Collected. And besides that, see how it freezes the enemies instantly? It's just easy Calm, Cool, Collected triggers. Now, when mobbing with this build, you want to fully utilize your clone swap. Basically, when you clone swap with your clone, it basically just, it helps with your survivability, because it just moves you around, it messes with your enemy's attention. Like when these snipers are aiming at you, that's perfect clone swapping time. Occasionally pull out the recursion at these sections. I get why people don't want to play the recursion, but there are definitely points at the bridge where it is very hard to mob and stay alive without like a really good chaining weapon like the redistributor. And the redistributor is very similar to the recursion in my opinion, with how good it is and what it does with bonus elements and ricochets. So yeah. Who here stares at Moxie? Me, dude. If you don't stare at Moxie, are you a real Borderlands player? And yeah, you can see the boomsicle Rex. If you don't have a boomsicle, you should still do fine. The non-boomsicle variant has faster fire rate. Is this guy invincible? Alright, we got an invincible guy. But even though we're running Calm, Cool, Collected without the barrier, it's kind of crazy that we can still just keep our action skills up. It doesn't really matter. Alright, we got the Kraken. Now, you gotta insta-kill the Kraken with the recursion, just because it's just such a cool way to do it. We shoot 2 shots at him, and he's dead. But yeah, we would normally clear that area if we wanted to loot, but we want to make this video kind of quickly, you know. Next, I like to use the recursion. You can use a brainstormer here, but this just insta does that shields part. Notice how I clicked my clone button coming down that elevator. Since the clone has nowhere to land, he will basically trigger seein red, and he'll trigger action skill and anointments. Now, when you kill the mobs all at once, it triggers the boss spawn. Actually, I didn't mean to pull out that gun. So, now for the Valkyries, you can use the boomsicle. Once we're down to their armor, though, we're just going to lob. It's just the fastest way to kill them. Oops. Now, keep in mind, like I said, when you kill each set of mobs, the next Valkyrie spawns. So if you want the Valkyrie to spawn faster, then you need to kill each section of mobs. Now, this part with the Valkyries, when they have full shield like this, you might actually want to swap into a shock or radiation weapon. I just keep different element lobs on me, because they're the best for the Valkyrie phases, and they're the easiest to shoot while moving fast. And you want to make sure to keep your kill skills up during the separate Valkyrie sections. It can be kind of hard sometimes. And sometimes if you catch these spawns immediately, you can just literally, like, basically insta-gib them all. Now, you really want to get this Valkyrie immediately, or else she does that run, and it kind of messes with your flow. But it's all good. Someone was tearing us up. And there's the Valkyries. How's your fight for your life not going down? Because of the new Guardian rank they added. It is kind of a broken skill in my opinion. And then for this section of the takedown, this section is really boring in my opinion. So there is a skip you can do where you kill the first 2 guys and then you jump off the map. And for some reason that opens this gate, but this section is just boring to me. I think they should take this section out of the takedown. So, but that's why we jumped off the map, if you guys don't know about that skip. One other thing I should mention, if you were watching from this part, you can actually click your action skill in your menu, and that'll trigger seein red. Sometimes you can use that for bossing, or if you just want to run faster on the map. It's really convenient, to be honest with you. I usually use it for running. Now, when it comes to this part, you want to kill these death spheres ASAP, and the boomsicle is perfect for that. I feel like we have bonus projectiles on enemies. Let's actually check real quick. Yeah, we do. Enemies fire 2 additional projectiles. So that's why we're taking so much damage. Because enemies have not only bonus 300% damage, but it's 2 projectiles, so it chews through health gate. So for this part of the bridge, especially with this 2 bonus projectile modifier, we are just gonna cheese it with the recursion. Basically, your clone will trigger over and over again because the recursion just triggers Calm, Cool, Collected for whatever reason. It's just really good at hitting crits. And see, our clone just died, so now we can kill everything. And just swap to your single target weapons when you need to. Pretty simple. Dude, my heart just stopped. And there we go. Now we got this door open. So these icebreaker guys are super annoying. You can just let your clone die. You can let all these guys walk out, let your clone die, and then just recursion. So we're going to do that for simplicity, but you could easily just boomsicle these guys. Like this guy right here will boomsicle. Oh, never mind. We don't have any kill skills.
Finger guns! Pew, pew.
Yo, Mr. J Royale, thank you for the follow.
Looks like you're in a bit of a state.
There we go.
Finger guns! Pew, pew.
Yo, the Flacker, thank you so much for the follow, dude. What's going on? Oh. So basically, my biggest suggestion for Wotan is putting on the Snowdrift. You can use this literally just to dodge attacks and go run and hide if you want. It's really clutch. Besides that, we want corrosive and shock lobs. There we go. Finally, I use the recursion, and then I use a good single target weapon for the head. You can use whatever you want. I'm just gonna keep the boomsicle equipped because it's already equipped. Now, I'm gonna show you guys how to use this recursion to get through a lot of phases real easily. And we can actually kill the head and the body in one hit if we slide and time the shot. But purposefully, I'm not going to do that because it is kind of a timing thing. So a lot of you aren't always going to do that. But yeah, let's go. So now keep in mind how Zane plays is he has lifesteal. So as long as our kill skills are active, we can literally jump inside his barrier and do that. If your kill skills go down, do not do this. And just keep in mind, if you ever have low health, don't jump in either. Because even though you have lifesteal, you will die to the first hit. So our kill skills just went down. We are now going to pull out the recursion for these mobs. And we just get easy, quick kills. We even triggered Calm, Cool, Collected too. So that's why the recursion is super clutch for this build. And especially in this Wotan fight. We're also going to use it when he jumps on the pillars. I'm going to show you guys that. So I was just trying to kill some mobs, but we actually got through that phase. So when he jumps on the pillars and starts to spawn enemies, if you're using a redistributor even, this is when you want to use it. Because you want those death spheres dead. And this will also get through his armor. See how he's spawning enemies? That's when we recursion. So we want all these enemies dead to the recursion. We're actually going to recursion these enemies real quick as well. So he's spawning. We're going to shoot. They die. I should actually switch this to corrosive. Alright. Now we take our lob. There we go. Take our other lob. See, our kill skills are going down. You gotta pay attention to that stuff. Hopefully we don't go down here. We might actually. Yeah, our kill skills went down, but it's fine. We're just gonna recursion. Alright. Now that our kill skills are back up, our clone's back up. Actually, we're about to die again. But we can basically... we just want to recursion these enemies. We have the really bad modifier, the mayhem modifier with 2 additional projectiles. And we can jump in and do that. Now, when he does this, if you time it right, you can recursion and insta-kill them completely. But like I said, we're not going to do that for the purpose of this playthrough. Now, I'm not going to lie, this bonus 2 projectiles modifier is really bad for the head. The head does a lot of damage with this modifier. So we're going to try to kill him quick. Alright, sweet. Now, we actually want to recursion for these enemies around. Man, this bonus damage modifier it's so much damage. So yeah, now we are just going to lob to finish off the body. We need salvation. Just kind of slide and get some lob shots in. And you will kill him in no time. We will kill him in no time. Alright, I'm going to pull out the recursion because there's mini enemies nearby. And they should die pretty quickly. There we go. Now keep in mind, I swear I will show you the modifier. This modifier is so bad. Actually, I want to pull out the cutsman so we can kill the legs. Always keep a cutsman on you for the legs. Yeah, I know, Zephyr. Alright, now look at this modifier. Enemies fire 2 additional projectiles. That modifier is literally the worst one ever. And we just beat the takedown with that modifier in a pretty reasonable time, I would say. I don't know how long it's been. 15 minutes, not bad. Especially with that modifier. That modifier is terrible. But we weren't going for a speed takedown. That was just a casual run. Streaming live for Twitch chat. But anyways, guys, that is it for the video. That is it for the build. If you guys want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to help us hit our goal of 20,000 subscribers by the end of April. It is a pretty crazy goal, but I know we can do it. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me. You can catch these over live at twitch.tv/thickfillet_. If you want to see me do fails like these live, that's actually really funny that happened. Can we get a rip in the chat? Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.